Hi, this is Coping with Donald. It's April 20th. I'm Phil. No, it's not April 20th. It's April 22nd. I'm Phil. And I'm glad it's not April 20th. The stock market went up today and went up in the after hours. And it's because Donald Trump hinted, because remember, he changes his mind every day anyway, but he's hinted at two big things that at least could make, it's like, it might be like putting some sort of soothing medicine on a cut, but then he'll come back and spray Bactine in your face. But he hinted at two things, and it shows that he's trying to backtrack without looking like he backtracked, because he's right about everything. I'm right about everything. Trump is right about it. Besant came out today, his advisor, and kind of sowed some seeds that things might not look as bad with China right now as they did before, and they're working on easing this and stopping what could be perceived as a trade war. And then Trump came out after, and the market closed, and said he's going to keep Jerome Powell. He's not going to fire him. Thank God. He probably found out he can't fire him, or maybe he made a special deal, the art of the deal, with Powell to do his bidding. I can tell you that I trust Jerome Powell a lot more as far as the health of the economy than I do Donald Trump. So if Jerome Powell's still there and he's uncorrupted by Trump, that's great. Trump spent 3 days criticizing him, and that's why markets had recently dumped. He called him a loser. His termination can't come fast enough. So, what the heck? At least we've got relief for a few days. And the market was very impressive today. And it was very impressive in that it broke through some big resistance on the way up. Boy, it still has more big resistance to break through. But at least it didn't go down. And the dollar might strengthen, which is great news for importing things, and the price isn't as high as you worry about. It might lead to less inflation for that reason. I'm not saying it's going to go down from here, inflation. I'm saying the impacts of inflation of Trump's policies might be lessened a bit. I think Trump realized that it takes all those years to make a trade agreement with one country, let alone 90, and that we don't have that kind of time. It's like the patient will die before you get him the medicine. So, he actually backed off, call it what it is, and no, Donald Trump, you don't get a medal for backing off a little bit on the problems that you're causing, and still will cause because he can't help himself. He has to stir the pot. He has to create problems. So, it is a good day, though, for that. Maybe he'll back off on some other things, like sending U.S. citizens to El Salvador prisons for the rest of their lives, like it's Devil's Island or something. I just... Maybe he'll just realize the path that he was going down, and that he would rather see his face on Mount Rushmore than have his head in a bucket next to the guillotine. Because, my God, look at the protests that are all over. And if we keep up those protests, he might back down on a lot of his stuff. I bet you the happiest people today in this country are any Republicans in government. Okay, what can you do? Don't trust this. as long as Donald Trump is the president, okay, keep 20% of any money you have in the SPY, which is just the S&P 500, and put the other 80% in like money market funds that pay 4%, even if they're 3.5%. Okay, it's too frightening, really. The way he can control so much with his words, trillions of dollars, and he gets a kick out of it. Okay, try to find a job that has some level of security. For example, and the best thing you can do to keep a job is to do the best you can. Whether I was sometimes a problem worker or not, I did a good job. And I cared about what I was doing. Probably was the only reason I was able. I've had jobs where I didn't care, and I was miserable there. But when you care, you do a good job. So find that kind of a job, okay? Work hard, of course, but be true to yourself. Be happy that you have that job, okay? I hope it's one that pays decently. Try to save a little bit every week, if you can. Pay down your credit cards. You know, the stuff you get from Susie Orman, any financial channel. Try to keep out of... For God's sakes, don't do anything illegal. Try to keep out of Trump's path. Be happy if you're not in Trump's path, because I know that the people that are in his crosshairs to do anything to not be. They wish they weren't. And he's coming to get you. That kind of thing. Protest. Protest legally. It's okay. I think I'm going to have to start going to protest myself. Maybe with enough opposition, he'll realize that he doesn't want to be seen as Genghis Khan in history. And he'll back off. He actually hasn't said anything about Canada or Greenland lately, or Panama Canal. Give him credit for that. Maybe he's backing off of that. But he's not backing off sending people to El Salvador who haven't committed crimes, or even sending citizens to El Salvador. Try to encourage the women that you know. You know, I would encourage everybody to vote in the primary in 2026. Vote in your primaries, because that's how you know you're still registered. If you aren't allowed to vote in your primary, you have time to get whatever papers they want you to get, or ever stamp on the driver's license or something like that, to get all those things, you know, the new kind of ID that they have. And you'll know it 6 months before the election, and you will have a chance to get your affairs in order so that you'll be able to re-register and vote. If you have to re-register, you'll be able to do all that. And especially if you're female, a lot of it, I think they're going to pass some kind of a law about your last name being different on your birth certificate and your present name. If you got married, you're going to have a different name. So make women aware of that, all the women in your life. I would like to be optimistic. I really can't. I really can't, because Donald Trump's a lunatic. Okay, he's insane, and it's important for you to protect yourself so he doesn't drive you insane. I haven't been sleeping well lately, so I haven't been doing that well. I'll tell you. It's almost, I mean, when you hear of Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that evil has been defeated by the hand of God within hours of the Pope's death, It's really got to make you think. That Pope was actually hated by many on the MAGA side because of the two terrible things that he did. He showed compassion for immigrants, and he showed compassion for the poor, and they hated him for it. That's what they consider evil. That's the mentality they have. Okay, this Republican administration and their cronies. So, I know this was pretty negative. This isn't going to help you cope either. But just try to take care of your own life in a way that you can keep Trump out. This has been Phil. This has been Coping with Donald. You can comment below. And good luck.